Зря запустил стрим, потому что тоже проголодался, хочу погреть,
Снова
поесть.
рэп.
Но я ногой, на самом деле, случайно.
А все. Так поешь.
Да, сейчас я тогда паузу сделаю и запущу стрим.
И делики обновились как раз.
В смысле? Тут такой интерес. Джон попросил добыть сведения для сенсационной статьи о здешних богачах.
Обновились, точно тебе говорю.
Ну, я точно тебе верю. Ну, надо этот квест пройти, хотя бы узнать, что там завязка какая. Они же обновились не на 15 минут, а на день.
Засиска.
Блин. Как я мимо пробежал. Да, ногой роутер, короче, пнул, у меня зарядка вышла.
Welcome, sir.
Welcome, sir. Это как этот мем. А, так куда?
Do you know what was here before Mantua?
До Менчесов особняк принадлежал архитектору, который увлекался оккультизмом. Его всю жизнь стремился воспроизвести описанный в старинном фолианте магический ритуал. Обычные магические круги оказались недостаточно мощными, и он возвел этот особняк. Возможно заметить, что его стены образуют оккультные символы, которые здесь... Кое-где здесь загадочные ниши. Однажды архитектор исчез, в доме осталась только кучка пепла на полу. Возможно, он достиг своей цели. Типа, телепортнулся.
That's what I like about this party. Bring me more dirt, Sherry. One more piece, and I can expose these base hedonists. One of these books must open a secret passage. I know it.
Well-known and recent plays to keep up to date with the current trends. Codex Orchis. Why does this occult book sound like a flower? Romantic poetry and prose. Someone's in touch with their feelings. These medieval botany and chemistry books look even more satanic than the occult ones.
Curtains do not guarantee
And you still
coming,
need
Sherry.
a crack, despite being
Just
ethereal.
Give me another second. Look, I'm an outlaw.
Sherlock! Friend! I wasn't sure you'd come.
Werner, I see you are not yourself.
The more time you spend here in Cordona, the more I feel it my duty to bring you into our world and show you all we have to offer.
And what is on offer today?
Pleasure, indulgence, relief, and relaxation. You've earned some time for yourself, have you not?
Those who know me would say I'm incapable of it.
Nonsense. I refuse to believe there is anyone permitted to know Sherlock Holmes.
You may be right.
Then free yourself from inhibition and expectation. The night is young, and so are the guests. You should try to enjoy both. It's not healthy for handsome men to spend every night alone, and certainly not in a house filled with such melancholic memories.
I must admit, my travels have proven more taxing than expected. I'm less confident in my life and myself. Time of relaxation seems a distant dream.
So can I tempt you with a physical aid to your moral consolations? There's wine, of course, something to smoke, or perhaps an artificial paradise? Yes, something more spiritual, a potentiator to sharpen the mind. A 7% solution of, well, that'd be telling, but you must try it.
My mind already operates at a far higher level than most. I struggle to believe anything could improve it. My ultimate duty is to provide the world with truth, and I do that perfectly well as is.
Beauty? You've never cared about that before.
Of course I do. Exposing a lie, revealing a fact, that is a moral responsibility.
That's not morality. Morals are what happens afterwards when truth collides with consequence. Do you ever follow up on cases you solved? Do you ever see what happened next, visit the victims, ensure justice is served in the courts? And how do you choose where to direct your attention? Are there not deserving causes to which your brilliance could be applied but isn't?
You ascribe me more power than I possess. I have a narrow skill set and work within that mandate. What occurs afterward is irrelevant.
With every action or inaction, you place a finger on the scales of morality. Many in the city would see you as abdicating your responsibility.
I haven't.
Not me, of course. Morality is subjective, just like truth. There is little to be gained from indulging in it, and far better things to indulge in. Now I must insist on easing any burdens I've placed upon your shoulders. Show yourself a kindness, and try this rather delectable concoction.
If this solution truly does assist with thinking, then perhaps it would be puerile to overlook an opportunity to study it. I'll take it with me.
Yes, Sherlock. Very good. And now, our evening begins in earnest. I just remembered. I'm sorry, Sherlock. My mind's delightfully impaired. Please take this key. It opens the altar room, past the library.
Pardon? Altar room? What now, Werner?
Go quickly and find our Fabio. Only you can make him talk. I'll join you in a minute.
Ахахахахихихихихихохах.
Да, перекусить успел. Пока этот видос показывали. Какой-то, короче, этот художник интересный. Он слишком много знает. И не до конца понятна его заинтересованность к нам. В плохом свете или хорошем. Или он просто такой человек сам по себе. Потому что он говорит всегда загадками. Так.
Поверни камеру на смешную уже.
На смешную, что?
Смешную.
А. Вот так вот? Чтоб ты лицо мог рассмотреть Шерлока, да?
Let Fabio speak for
Не
himself.
так, но так тоже норм.
Так, тут надо найти...
Я про ту, что смеется.
О, подожди, я могу за текстуру выйти и узнать, что там просто аудиофайл. Ну-ка. А нет, кто-то стоит. Нет, не стоит. Там никого нет. Но штора очень тяжелая. Смотри, кстати, причем часть шторы двигается, но типа полностью не открывается. Прикольно. То есть даже продумали этот момент.
Давай я в тебя верю.
Да нет, там никого нет, очевидно же. Ну, видишь, пусто.
Не сдавайся.
Здесь тоже никого нет. Так видно. Только не пиши хатифис, хо-хо. Вот там кто-то шлепает. Уже не шлеп.
Дефис.
Там кто-то спит. Или кто-то очень сильно дышит на ладони, который очень сильно замерз. Так, а что тут еще можно? Интересные сведения о здешних богачах.
I think we deserve a rest.
Enjoy the event, sir.
Так, к ним я подходить не хочу больше. Так, у меня есть ключ.
My God. Was he here this whole time?
Получается так.
A blunt force trauma may have suffered an internal hemorrhage. This worm-like sigil has been drawn with his own blood. This crude tattoo partially covers his slave branding. This golden handle has a bloodstain on it.
Прикольный нож.
The dagger is heavy and sharp, but lacks balance. The wound is deep. A precise strike reached the heart. The victim has clenched the fabric so firmly in his fist that it's nigh impossible to remove it. He died right here.
Да, то есть его здесь убили. На этом самом алтаре. Фогель, блин, опять куда ты меня заманил, блин? Засранец ты такой художник. Что какая-то херня с ним происходит, а? Сам же и убил, короче. Все, полиция!
Werner, care to explain what is going on here?
On nights like these, it's not unusual for some attendees to get a little exuberant. It's part of the appeal. Unfortunately, it appears things have gotten out of hand. Yes, Some are more prone to bend the rules of morality.
That's murder. I doubt there's anything left to bend. Why did you not tell me immediately? We were chatting about trivial matters for some time.
If I'm completely honest, Sherlock, I've consumed a rather potent cocktail of substances. My attention slips and drifts. But I'm glad I thought to call for you.
You sent me a disguise.
Oh dear, did I? Well, since I found the body, Mr. Manchios has agreed that you can investigate the matter. I promise my mind will behave itself going forward.
All right. Then pull yourself together, Werner. What is it about these nights that you were so eager to share with me?
Well, they're not always in the evenings, but they are in the shadows. People gather to test their boundaries in a safe and consensual atmosphere, often with more stains than your typical crime scene. But that is the point.
Я чё дефиста пропустил, чего ты там кричал?
What about today, then? Was anything different?
Well, I was invited as a special guest. It was supposed to be a time of both divine and carnal pleasures. A scratch for every unconventional itch.
I imagine you're reeling from your shattered expectations.
On the contrary, there is still spectacle, stimulation, and release, merely in a different form. I like to let life entertain me.
Or death.
Я предлагаю, когда мы слушаем диалоги, не писать, потому что очень сильно путает эта вся фигня.
Mr. Manchios is the owner of the manor, yes?
And the host of Cordona's most memorable parties. He promises even the ugliest guest a partner for the night. And for the ones with more unconventional tastes, Mr. Manchios provides other services.
What a caring person.
You cannot begin to imagine.
How did you discover the body? In between guzzles of alcohol?
I was set to perform in a fecundity rite with Fabio and came to inquire further. It was a staged ritual where he was to play the principle of life.
And the rehearsal was unsuccessful?
Who knows? I found him alone on the altar, his blood dripping to the floor.
And then?
Then I called Mr. Manchios. He was panicking, so I told him about you. We left the room and locked the door. Then we were...
Filling time?
Waiting for you was stressful. We indulged in some simple comforts. Overindulged, perhaps.
Were you well acquainted with Fabio, the victim?
Everyone knew Fabio, or wanted to. His beauty was the talk of the island. Too handsome to go unnoticed. He was magnetic. Fat wallets fought for the privilege of having him. He offered the pleasures of performance, and more.
What about the fertility ritual? There was something about Fabio being a principle of life.
Fabio was supposed to portray the beauty of life's origin. Flowers, oil... Not this travesty that seems straight out the Inquisition.
So this ritual is not the fertility rite. What was it meant to look like?
It begins with a woman lying naked in a flower bed on the altar. She represents Gaia, the earth. As I cover her in oils, we chant for the principle. As our calls reach a climax, Fabio enters and copulates with her. After he finishes, I stab her with a dagger. That part's just pretend, of course.
But the intercourse is not?
I did not expect you to be such a prude. Are you a virgin? It is nothing to be ashamed of, but it would explain the color of your cheeks. The fertility rite marks the start of our festivities. The principle of life is beautiful, intimate, essential. It must not be stopped.
Yet it appears that someone did stop it. What about the naked woman? Can you tell me anything about her?
Oh, yes, Matista. She's one of Fabio's compatriots and a performer, too. I haven't seen her today, actually.
When you discovered the body, was the door open?
No, it was locked. Oh, that reminds me. It's a minor detail, but the first time I came to speak to Fabio, I left without entering, having been unable to open the door.
You didn't have the key?
No, I had it. Don't look at me like that. I was mostly sober. I suspect there was a key in the other side of the door, blocking the lock.
That detail may very well be major, Werner. Well done. So you returned later only to find the lock was not blocked?
Correct. After an hour had passed, I tried again and was able to unlock the door. That's when I discovered poor, handsome Fabio.
The police remain unaware of this tragic event?
Some of them may be hiding behind their masks. They conceal many things. But we didn't want the authorities to create more problems. Besides, after a few cocktails, their incompetence will have soared to new heights.
How do you know I even want the case?
I promised you relaxation. If there's one thing I know about you, Sherlock, it's that nothing soothes you more than a good mystery.
Так, я правильно понял? Это Фабио? А это Фогель. Фогель, Фабио, я, блин, их уже запутался, короче. А Менчос это Фабио? Курт Менчос. А, это его особняк. Всегда ваш ВФ. Фогель. Не Фабио. Мне Фогель дал, чтобы поговорить с Фабио. Фабио мертвый. Блин, обидно, что Фабио убили. Крутой мужик, походу, был.
This elaborate box must be for the ritual dagger. This oil has a slight aroma
Сними
of
с него
flowers and olives.
остатки одежды. Мы должны знать, о чем весь сыр-бор.
Не
The
хочу
herbs
я
here
на
are
его
salvia
сыр и на его
divinorum.
бор
They have
смотреть.
a slight hallucinogenic effect to emphasize the ceremony.
А я хочу.
Прикольная картина. Смотри, даже звуки за стенку добавили. Нифига.
Enough cigars to burn down the entire mansion. Blood. A sturdy bottle met a not-so-sturdy human. It didn't break only because it was unopened. An open wound spoiled the carpet.
Спун.
Why don't people tidy up after themselves?
То есть его убили тут. Ну, точнее, дали по башке, чтобы потом оттащить. И вряд ли женщина могла его оттащить одна.
This one looks like a twisted symbol of Venus drawn. The sign reminds me of the astrological symbol for Mars.
Тут еще один вход есть.
Handcrafted and luxurious cufflinks. There's also a note. For my Fabio. Manchos.
Подожди, Манчо, значит, это живой чувак, это не старый владелец этого дома. А вот еще один комплектующий, кстати. С буквой F, то есть Фабио.
The key is similar to the one that Vogel gave me. The capital F on the key fob might refer to Fabio.
Would you recognise me in one of these? I suppose not.
This is a different ritual.
Без вонзания ножа.
How can anyone accept such behaviour?
A useful tool for a disguise arsenal.
Неужели очередная жертва, очередная убийца, которая будет жертвой?
The pitcher is empty, but with puddles around it. Blood clots are adhered to the sides of the drain.
Смыла кровь, да?
Identical to the robes the guests are wearing. Props, decorations, and tools for a more detailed set.
О, тут, кстати, зеркало нормально работает. Оно отражает... А, нет, уже не отражает. Только что вроде отражало. Угу.
Similar to the guests' robes, apart from the bloodstains.
Ватсон, блин, заколебал.
You've got a lot to do, Sherlock.
Sherlock.
The ointment smells mouse-like. I presume it is an aphrodisiac prepared from a Spanish fly.
Все запахи мира знают, что ли?
A person leaned against the doorframe. They left a smudged trail of blood. The wounded person was here for some time. A bloody handprint on an armchair. There appear to be no further traces leading to the altar.
So, Sherry, do you have any ideas about the case?
Perhaps, perhaps. I think I can deduce what happened here.
Подожди, все это время дефис это Ватсон ходил в эти моменты?
Да, а ты не замечал? Да, этот пока сидит. Это же в чертогах разума происходит, по сути. Ватсон ими заправляет.
Нет, я думал, это Шерлок ходит.
Потом он снял одежду, спрятал в шкафу. И умылся. Перед этим он закрыл дверь.
The bottle was used as a weapon during a scuffle in the smoking lounge. Then, to ensure no one would interrupt, the murderer locked the door. The unconscious body of the victim was moved to the altar room. Once the body was on the altar, the murderer thrust the dagger into the victim's heart. Symbols were drawn with the blood. The wardrobe was used to hide the bloodied robe from anyone's eyes. The killer washed himself and took a clean robe from the hanger before leaving.
Are you all right? You're on the floor, not moving.
I think I know what happened here.
Да, Шерлок наркоман, походу.
I'm starting to put the pieces together.
Fabio was stabbed.
I see nothing gets past you, Werner. Yes, he was stabbed, but only after being knocked out in the next room and placed here. I do not yet know why.
So, who's responsible?
Well, it was one person working alone, and the murderer has
Lol.
now donned a robe. He or she could be hiding in plain sight. We have lost time, Werner, but your discretion may prove to be a benediction after all.
Так, обстоятельства смерти на груди, торчит золотой ритуальный кинжал на его животе, смерть так.
The murderer had to have access to this room. After the crime, he used his own key to lock the door. So, who had the key to the altar room?
I'm not sure. As a special guest, I was provided one by Mr. Manchios. He should be able to tell you of any others.
Where can I find him?
А что означает замок на зацепках?
his guests. He has a mask with golden stars. You can't miss him. But please be discreet. We don't want to risk disturbing the revelry.
Замок на чем? На записках? Какой замок? Где он? Восклицательный знак? Ума не приложу.
Прочитай еще раз, лол.
These crime scenes
Как я могу
always outdo
прочитать?
my
Я не могу
imagination.
читать чат. Просто не надо писать, когда они разговаривают. Я же не вижу. Я стараюсь не пропустить. Я не вижу, где вообще тут чат
Я
есть.
не знаю, а как ты обычно читаешь?
Да вот на экране пишут и все. Не, у меня нету тут истории чата. Раньше было на 4, сейчас нету. Я поэтому голос и поставил, потому что, чтобы слышать, что вы пишете, потому что я, когда играл,
Ты разгадываешь дело дефис, что означает замок на зацепках.
так нету замка на зацепках. В чертогах разума? Какой замок-то я не вижу. Вот этот? То, что он с этим не сопоставим. Его не с чем пока сопоставлять.
Вот здесь да.
Типа нужны еще зацепки, чтобы его уже с
Sherlock,
кем-то.
don't forget to find the information I need before the guests leave.
Так, что-то интересное о гостях надо еще узнать. Музыку слышишь? Да, музыка Шерлока. Тум-турурум, тум-тум. Тум-тум. Турурум-тум. Это вот из главной темы. Так, а как узнать еще о гостях-то? Hey ma'am, are you okay? I can help you? О, а сейчас здесь кто-то сидит.
Manchos had to enforce the masks after the scandal.
Ага. Без маски страшно смотреть.
Manchos had to
Nope. Nope. Yes. Nope. Maybe. Nope. Yeah. Блин, там политический кризис был. Опять дерутся с кем-то.
Manchos had to enforce.
Может, это бойцовский клуб какой-то секретный? Поэтому тут за стенками все дерутся. Союз имел политический... Ну, что за кофейня были подлинные? Прикинь, да, целые города и страны из-за этого ломались. Тебе тут хорошо, да? Ему тут вообще хорошо, походу. Он слышь, кого-то бьют? Ватсон? Кайфарики. Я так понимаю, мне с ним надо поговорить.
Kurt Manchos, I presume. I'm Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, you must be the one Werner told me about. What a sweet voice you have. It must belong to a handsome young man. Can I call you Sherlock?
As you wish, Mr. Manchos. Mr. Vogel asked me to help you.
As you wish.
The body in the altar room requires answers, and
Как
quickly.
захотите.
I suspect
Wish
the
list.
murderer to still be here.
What? Lower your voice. I don't want anyone to hear us.
Did you know Fabio well?
People are starting to look at us, Sherlock. Change the subject. I can't believe what happened to him. To me. Such an atrocity. Think what it means for me. A wonderful evening for so many good, influential, and rich people has been ruined. I have betrayed all my promises of exotic delights.
I don't understand. Surely a murder would affect your reputation to a greater extent.
Please, isn't this why you are here? I thought you were a silent magician. Do your tricks and make it go away.
I need to find all those who had the key to the altar room. As far as I know, Mr. Vogel, Fabio, and you had access to it. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes. Also, Matista and Santos.
Santos? Who is that?
Who is that?
Santos Pinchetti, my major domo. In his opinion, at least.
I'd like to speak to Mr. Pinchetti and Matista. Do you have somewhere I might have a private conversation with them?
Of course, of course. Let me think. Matista is entertaining the guests somewhere, and Santos... Oh, yes. He will be busy with the servants. Or the cook. What's that noise? What's going on? Freeze, filth. You're under arrest.
Что?
Look at you. Committed a crime, and now I have to free you, kiss your hand, and apologize for the inconvenience.
I did tell you that Mr. Vogel and I were innocent. I emphasized it in my statement.
Your statement? Thanks to some bigwigs who work for the so-called good of the country by releasing fleas like you. Thank God we had Vogel in his letter. Once I get to that goldfish, I'll...
Bigwig? Ah, my wretched brother Mycroft and his long nose.
Wait, did you say Mycroft? Mycroft Holmes? Are you the youngest son of Violet Holmes, rest her soul?
Is there something wrong with that? Do you know something about her?
I was working on the paperwork of her case while you still had milk on your lips.
Would you happen to remember anything of the events?
Well, I didn't make the inquiry, but I remember seeing some notes. Why?
Perhaps we can negotiate. I could be quite useful.
Huh. Got you hooked, right? You know what? Stark and the others think they're the smartest here, thanks to you. Let me get this straight. Are you listening to me, lad?
I'm all ears.
Take this case. Report to me only, to Constable Harvey Oswald. I'll leave everything I have on this table. Find the murderer. Be a real copper. Question the suspects, make them sing, give me something substantial.
And if Mr. Vogel is not a suspect?
If he's innocent, then you can take your favourite degenerate away from here. If you slip or mess with the evidence, then trust me, your brother won't save you from my bludgeon. Meanwhile, I'll be checking the archive for you. If anybody asks, then you're a consulting detective.
Let's make a start then, partner.
I'm glad we managed to get the scoop before the raid. I can't go back to prison. Look, I found Werner.
Werner, are you all right?
Oh, yes. Everything's fine. In fact, it's something of a family reunion. My brother spent quite some time in this place himself.
You should not be here. I told the police
Улики
everything
на
I knew,
столе
but they
ты не
refused to let me go.
собираешься смотреть.
They require proof to free you.
Ha! What did you expect? The mighty Sherlock Holmes swans in, tells the officers what to think, and the world obeys?
Of course not. Anyway, I struck a deal with the constable, and I've got a free hand in the investigation. I find proof to solve the case for him. He obtains files about my mother's death for me.
Well done. If one has the power or will and can act, then one must. I wonder, suppose you couldn't get the proof to your truth. Would you tell a lie to the guard that enabled my freedom, knowing my innocence? Would that not be just?
Интересно. Интересно. Подожди, мне надо посмотреть, что для ачивки надо сделать. Я там уже столько раз лгал ради кого-то. На самом деле, что в этой игре, мне кажется, специально тебя подбивали. У меня капа на коробке лежит, смешно. Блин, сфоткайте, да. А где мой телефон? Сейчас, подожди, я посмотрю. По-моему, там была ачивка, типа, на чистую воду его. Фотку, как лежит кот. Ну, это реально смешно сейчас было. Короче, просто коробка из зефирок. Вика выпросила их. Лежит на подоконнике. И Капа на ней лежит. Такая счастливая, довольная, в окно смотрит. Так, подожди. Гайд Шерлок. А где ачивки-то? Ачивки. То есть надо понимать, что с ним надо делать-то. Сюжетная ачивка или нет? One minute, please. Как Шерлок пишет? Sherlock. Sherlock Chapter 1. Trophy. Скрыть полученные. Ой. Так, вспомнить все. Все истории Кордона. Потом надо сразиться в каждой логове бандитов. Вот попробуйте найти легкий путь, а то я вообще офигел, что так можно было сделать в самом начале игры. Я пропустил. Так, поднесите завесу над жизнью богемы. Это я только что сделал. Это Джон просил. Есть ачивка «Разочаруйте Майкрофта», но не показано как. И вот есть ачивка «Найдите книгу». Но где ее искать и как, тоже не написано, что интересно. Подожди. Я помню, что про него было. Добейтесь для Фабио справедливости. А это Фогель, это не Фабио. Ну давай.
I suppose that in the pursuit of justice, if truth was ineffectual, then one must resort to other means to achieve the outcome. I would do it.
Oh, Sherlock, that is sweet of you. Alas, if the police are after hard evidence, then I suppose neither truth nor lie would do.
That is absurd. I can resolve this without compromises. Do not give up hope.
Какая музыка пошла новая? Они, да, читать можно. А ты что там такой умный сидишь? Получив сообщение о теле, найденном после сатанинского ритуала, полиция организовала обыск особняка Курта Менчеса. Полицейские арестовали несколько подозреваемых, разогнали толпу людей в масках, которые застали за непристойными противоестественными занятиями. Тело убитого с ножовой раной в груди было найдено на алтаре. Полицейские познали убитого. Это местный артист Фабио, 20 лет, арестованный подозреваемый Б. Фогель. При себе он имел письмо оскорбительного содержания, написано рукой убитого, утверждая, что обнаружил тело первым известен излишней эксцентричностью. Шерлок Холмс при себе имел орудие убийства, кинжал в крови убитого. И другие улики его пригласил другой подозреваемый В. Фогель. Вероятно, цель — попытка воспрепятствовать официальному расследованию. И Кей Менчес Владелец особняка и организатор сатанинского сборища заплатил убитому за участие в ритуале и имел доступ к местному преступлению. Матиста, партнерша Фабио и участница ритуала, пыталась скрываться с места преступления, оказалась сопротивлением при аресте. При себе имела книгу с описанием ритуала. А может, мне эту книгу и надо почитать? Несколько человек временно задержано для дальнейшего допроса. Угу.
Back on track to solve the case.
Чтобы получить доступ к уликам к делу 6260, нужно предъявить этот талон. Так, показания свидетелей. Я Сэнчес Пинчетти. Сентос Пинчетти. Хочу сообщить о подозрении на убийство. Ага. То есть Сентос стал во время подготовки званого вечера. Собственно, персона велел привести жертву живого человека. Я увидел в стенах кровь, везде были нарисованы статные языка. Справившись с потрясением, я поспешил сообщить полицию. Понятно, из-за кого все приехали. Так, и у меня есть теперь ключи от допросных. Только в допросных никого нет. Вот это Матиста получается. Hello, man.
I'm Sherlock Holmes. I'm helping Constable Oswald. You are Matista, Fabio's friend.
This body, yes, it's Matista. But it's a mere shell that will die someday. Just like Fabio.
Please accept my condolences for your friend.
Thank you.
I'm just here to ask questions and find Fabio's murderer.
It will not bring Fabio back.
Тоже. Клеймо раба. Хотя 20-летний парень, он вообще молодой был. Ну, в смысле. Грызет ногти, нервничает. Кровопотеки получены недавно. Старые, едва заметные следы от кандалов, след ожога, клеймо. Наносит их сама, сделано самостоятельно. Так, Матиста, партнерша Фабио. По выступлению у нее была тяжелая жизнь. Ребенком она попала в рабство, как и Фабио. У них на теле одинаковые метки. С тех времен у них стали шрамы, воспоминания дальних так несчастных. Матиста увлекалась мистицизмом. Ее тело покрыто татуировками, видимо. Угу. Так, у нее была... Еще Матиста украшает кожу чернилами. Ну, давай вот это, наверное.
Fabio and yourself were slaves, am I correct? You have a similar branding on your body.
Yes. It was a long time ago.
Couldn't help but also notice fresh cuts upon your forearms.
The cuts helped me to forget my past. To cover the old wounds and hide them.
How did you escape?
Она же только что сказала про свое тело.
I made him fall, and he died. We ran away that day. We managed to get on a ship and traveled here, to Gordona. Fabio and I started a new life here. It was very hard at first, but it became better with time. Until today.
The bruises on your neck are not self-inflicted. Someone else made them.
Some guests can't contain themselves. They even bite, sometimes.
Мажордома лол.
Мажордом, да. Мажордом. А, замок это ты закрепил просто вот эту штуку, видишь? Чтобы понимать, с какой этой ты связан. Так, ну вроде пока все. Сейчас надо с другими подозреваемыми поговорить. Вот его мы
Good day,
увидели.
Mr. Manchios. I am Constable Oswald's partner in this investigation.
Be quick and gentle. Some of your colleagues are untrained bores. Although I don't mind meeting young officers, the new blood here.
If you cooperate in finding Fabio's murderer, there will be no need to meet with the Boers again.
That voice. Werner's friend? You're the policeman. What a disappointment.
Only an undercover agent can scour a ditch full of deviants. I am a consulting detective, although I'm capable of replacing the entire department through my consultations.
Sharp-tongued, I like it. May I presume this tongue will get us out of this trouble? I would be so indebted and glad to repay you.
Nothing's changed. I'm looking for the murderer. That's the only way to get us out of trouble.
But it shouldn't take much time, correct? We're all busy, after all.
I need to examine you first.
В спешке мыл руки. После убийства. Бум-бум-бум. Очень дорогие. Так, организация особняки вещания, да? Для сливок общества. Мне кажется, так.
You are a little over the top with your use of makeup, Mr. Manchios. Is it so difficult for you to acknowledge your age?
Well, Sherlock, that's easy for you to say to an old man when you look as though you are barely 15.
But still, it shouldn't be an issue for someone of your status.
For people of my age, it isn't an issue, no. But the younger ones can be so afraid of wrinkles and grey flecks. I have to adapt.
Such a methodical man who cares for his body but misses the soap under his fingernails. Are you so impatient, or perhaps even impulsive?
I wouldn't call myself that. Silly little details. If I missed it, it wasn't important. Or rather, it was less important than who or what I was focused on.
What was Fabio like? His personality, his habits? Anything you can tell me?
He was the brightest star of my parties. Young, magnetic, and full of energy. I don't even want to mention his beauty. Otherwise, I'll be sobbing.
An expensive champion, I imagine.
His performances were flawless. He deserved his payment. Do you think he was murdered because of money?
Possibly. What about the other guests? Were they used to opening their wallets as well?
I wouldn't restrict my guests from anything. I'm sure Fabio received a few coins from others for his services.
Mr. Vogel told me a little about your parties, but I would like to know more directly from you.
I'm all yours, Sherlock. You have me arrested and locked here with you alone.
I'd like to know who you usually invite to your parties.
Free minds who are able to leave reality for an evening, who can taste forbidden fruit without prejudice. There is nothing that quite spices up life like these parties, assuming one is old enough and has worked many years for the good of one's country.
Oh, all true labourers, I see. Why did you invite Mr. Vogel as your special guest?
He's a pretty fellow. He's capable of surprising the public. He has a talent for saying words that no one else would wish to either say or hear.
I suppose I can't argue with that.
He is a free addition to the eccentricity of the party, which is fine by me, as long as it enhances my party. I've no idea about that. I've no idea about that. You'd better ask someone else. That's not something I know much about. That's not something I know much about. I've no idea about that. I've no idea about that.
Do you have any idea who tipped off the police to raid your mansion, Mr. Manchios?
Of course. It was you. I could even say you Sherlocked me in here.
A good guess, but the wrong one. The fellow who did that was Mr. Pinchetti, your major domo.
What? Santos? But how could he even know? If he's not the murderer himself. The ungrateful swine. He has dared to besmirch my reputation.
Not a very eloquent choice of words.
What should I call him then, since he's a snitch? Make him talk, Sherlock. I'm quite certain he knows more about the murder than he has told the police. That's not something I know much about. You'd better ask someone else. You'd better ask someone else. That's not something I know much about. You'd better ask someone else.
You bought an expensive pair of cufflinks for Fabio. Were they his price? Or were they a tip for an exclusive show?
It was pure business. Fabio escorted me a few times. I was merely showing my gratitude.
This pair cost a small fortune. You must be extremely grateful then. Tell me more.
You've thrust a knife in an exposed nerve, Sherlock. Yes, he was my protégé and my beacon also. With my experience and his beauty, we could have achieved anything. I had faith in him. I would have made him.
I don't think I can tell you anything about this. I'm not supposed to know anything about this. I'm not supposed to know anything about this. I can't follow you here. I can't follow you here. I don't think I can tell you anything about this. I don't think I can tell you anything about this. I'm not supposed to know anything about this. I can't follow you here. I can't follow you here. I can't follow you here.
I have learned who told the police about the crime. It was Santos Pinchetti.
Do I know him?
The major domo of the manor. He cleans up after you?
Well, then he does his job perfectly. All but invisible. I couldn't tell you the first thing about him.
Good day. Your ticket, please, if you want me to help you.
I'd like to check the evidence from this case.
And who are you?
Oswald sent me. I'm a consulting detective.
His partner, then? Let me see. Ah, a ritual murder. What a bunch of degenerates. Wait a second. I'll bring it to the table.
It's a miracle this ruby hasn't tempted anyone. A heavily perfumed handkerchief with the initials KM in the corner. All the keys of the mansion on one golden ring. A handcrafted charm that contains hair and nail clippings. Her key to the altar room. That's not for bedtime reading. This ex libris belongs to Manchios Library. The book describes a ritual similar to the one performed in the altar room. Not the time for privacy. An emergency kit for boredom.
Понятно, это был приворот Фабио. Но каст воскрешения не сработал, маны мало было, видимо.
Dona's personal sketchbook. Thank you, officer.
Ты тут еще? Не, мне кажется, она увидела труп.
Ты микрофон выключил?
Да, мне позвонили. Она увидела труп и пыталась его воскресить с помощью этой книги. То есть его убили, а когда она его обнаружила... Так, а где его кабинет-то? Этого начальника? Надо сообщить констеблю Освальду. А он может...
So much work, so little time.
Да,
Мне
там
кажется,
же
там-
четко написано «Кровь, которая тебя не любит». Это был владелец дома.
Is this familiar to you?
I'm not in the mood to talk to moneybags.
Would you like to report a crime?
А где констебль-то, блин? Констебль. Фи. Инспектор.
May I ask you
Попа,
something?
переоденься.
tell you, sir, but others might know more.
Вот он.
I've nothing to say about this.
Have you
Сам
considered Mr.
засыпаешь
Santos
тоже.
Pinchetti as a suspect?
The snitch? Have you seen him? I mean, my breath could knock him down. What's so special about him?
Доехать
As a
надо.
major domo, he has keys that open all the rooms, including the one to the crime scene. Could have testified only to circumvent suspicion, don't you think? We need to question him.
Right. I'll send our men to fetch him. Stay here. They
Даже
brought
ходить
him in,
никуда не
Mr.
надо.
Holmes. Here's the key to interrogation room number 7. Mr. Pinchetti didn't even resist, our men said.
Thank you.
Пацан, блин. Ты что меня позоришь? Ну, здравствуй, снич.
Mr. Pinchetti, a pleasure to meet you. I'm Sherlock Holmes. I'm helping Constable Oswald.
I've already told him everything I know. I'm only a witness, sir. Everything's in my report.
And I've read it. You forgot to mention that you hold the keys to the room where Fabio was found. I need only to find if the crime was intentional.
But I need to return to my duties.
I doubt the house will fall without you, Mr. Pinchetti. Just
Нифига
be
он
still
как
for a few
отъехал, да?
seconds.
Сейчас тебя просканируют по полной. Ага. Пальчики. Мне нужны пальчики. Обычно всегда руки сканируются, а тут что-то нет. Тогда ножки. Наступил в кровь. Да, он увидел то, что произошло убийство. Крашено несколько раз. живет в нищете, хотя по-любому нормально зарабатывает.
You are the major domo of a rich mansion, and you seem barely able to afford decent clothing. You hide under heavy makeup a skin disease that might be treated with more onerous but less harmful means.
Да, типа тот его другую прислугу больше любит.
The pay is below what you might expect.
But you could easily change your job if your employer does not meet your elementary needs.
One can change his employer, that is true.
And the blood on your shoe, where does that come from?
I don't actually know. Perhaps from a guest?
Об мой ботинок.
Did you know Fabio?
Not personally. He was a frequent guest, and cleaning the mess after his performances was tedious. Mr. Manchios always had a role for him, and mainly the leading one. The parties were always Fabio-centric.
And Matista? Was she as popular as her partner?
Don't tell her I said this, but I do not think so. Mr. Manchios hired her only because Fabio refused to work without her. Mr. Manchios used to see her as a worker. She was tasked with entertaining the guests, unlike Fabio, who could pick and choose.
Так, что-то немного показали.
Please let...
Немного. Так, надо поговорить с этой дамой насчет книги. С Фогелем надо поговорить. Хорошо, что здесь ходить никуда не надо.
Есть его вещи в уликах еще потому, что надо было с них начать.
Кровь в ботинке. Он мог быть там. Смывать себя кровь после убийства, надо с печати не заметил пятно на ботинке. Тут очень много разветвлений получается. Так, еще кровь на ботинке, что может говорить? Столько имен. Матиста ударил Фабио. Синяки Матиста появились после стычки с Фабио в курительной. Либо гости грубо обращались с Матистой во время званого вечера, оставленными синяки. А как он ее мог ударить, если они дружили? Я больше поверю, что она с гостями, да? Смотри, вот он работает, а этот любит Фабио. Это был бы... Пока не всего хватает, пойду поговорю с Фогелем.
Me out.
И с дамой.
Иди еще улики смотри.
So, the police found a letter from Fabio in your pocket?
I cannot tell if it was truly in my pocket at all. Perhaps it was placed there later.
Well, that is one hypothesis. If it were true, then how did it get there?
No clue. But this night has been rather eccentric. Such a detail could have easily eluded me.
Indeed. Do you recall reading it?
I can't remember that either. But I tend to respect privacy. Reading others' personal notes is not one of my perversities.
This book, The Power of Love, Blood and Mandrake, what do you hope to achieve?
To learn more about the invisible strengths that govern us. Occultism is real. The master who fell that night when Fabio and I escaped, I made him fall. I cast a spell on him and it worked.
Or was it a coincidence?
The universe is rarely so lazy.
If you say so.
Угу.
I've nothing to say. I've nothing to say. I've nothing to add. I've nothing to say.
This is the letter the police found in Mr. Vogel's pocket. Fabio wrote it. Do you know anything about it?
I don't. Although I can feel Fabio's energy. It's there, but it refuses to let me analyze it.
Блин, такое ощущение, как будто да. Ну, короче, она просто уже... Короче, была стычка, его ударили по голове. Его ударили по голове. И он от этого умер. Его перенесли на алтарь. Это увидел Мэтьяс. А потом пришла она, увидела труп и хотела его резнуть. И нарисовала все эти оккультистические...
Do you practice occult rituals?
For protection? For fortune? To wash away the ugliness of the world? Sometimes to survive.
Да,
I have the gift, and I'm learning to use it better.
Did you use your gift on Fabio?
I only used white magic. Love charms lately. Fabio became so distant. I just wanted him to be with me, but I suppose I'm not as skilled as I thought.
Скилл. Переоценила. Короче, она его любила, а он нет. Он типа весь в работе был. Поэтому сходится, что она ритуал делала. Вот, удержать Фабио. Да, возможно.
Я все же ставлю на владельца дома.
Do you recognize this book? Could Matista have borrowed it from your library?
She didn't ask me. How ungrateful.
The things described in the book were inspiration for the rituals you performed?
Do you really believe that blood, symbols, and incantations can resurrect the dead? They are just eerie tales with a mix of occultism and voodoo. My rituals are a stage to show some of the forbidden pleasures.
Forbidden pleasures.
I've no idea about that.
I've read this letter from Fabio. It had no addressee, but it was found in Mr. Vogel's pocket.
Werner? Strange. I didn't think the two of them corresponded.
I'm sure there is some explanation. Would you care to read it?
call me superstitious, but I don't care to read a letter from a dead man.
Да, это тебе письмо было, значит. Что было написано-то? Ты в своем уме можешь не держать себя в руках, по крайней мере, в моем присутствии не собираюсь бить твои придирки.
Это звучит норм из его уст, дефис про книги и ритуалы.
Я буду проводить время как хочу и с кем хочу. Я тебе не матиста. Не думаю, что можешь меня купить. Ну, он точно ему писал это письмо, да. И, разумеется, я ставлю все твои щедрые пожертвования, пусть они не купят твою последнюю истерику. Я ухожу, остается только матиста. Из-за этого у них произошла ссора. Понял? Сейчас с ним еще поговорим. Правда, мы с ним только что говорили.
Please let me out.
The air here is rather refreshing. I'd even recommend that some of my friends visit the place.
I know I can handle the news.
Так, осталось, знаешь, что в архиве, походу, что-то поискать. Фогеля арестовали за письма. Ну вот, кто-то ему это письмо и положил.
Там есть еще изъятые вещи.
Где? Я не все посмотрел, типа?
I'm busy. You've already used that
Опа,
quote
где?
of me helping you.
Нет, вот я все посмотрел.
Так новые принесли.
You get over there.
Continue our investigation while I look for the papers.
Где новый принесли? Ты о чем? А, в первой этой комнате, понял. Подожди, не пиши.
This area is restricted.
Окей.
Почему тогда нет? Там четко сказали.
Нет, ничего.
I can't go back to prison.
Could you help me?
Nothing I can tell you, sir.
Смотри.
Миньон, ты правильно подошел, но их не было, хотя сказали.
А может мне талон дали новый? Нет, талон тоже нет. Я согласился расследовать это. Короче, надо в чертогах еще что-нибудь найти. Письма. А я тут уже все проверил. Окей.
Когда мажора этого привели, дефис сказали, что у него изъяли вещи.
Подожди, а может я к нему в дом смогу сходить? Где он был, ты помнишь? Да, а нет, зеленый. Значит, стерлики там найдены. Так, мы что-то пропустили.
But others might know more.
Все материалы по делу он оставил на столе.
Continue our investigation while I look for the papers.
I'm busy. You've already used up your quota of me helping you.
Werner's personal sketchbook. An emergency kit for boredom.
Я хозяин.
Угу.
Ваварик лол.
I can't wrap my head around such a tragedy at my party.
I know I can handle the news.
Please let me out.
А про кого говорили? Вот про улики говорили. Смотри. Ты говоришь про стол, вот видишь.
I recognize the key from the altar room among these.
То есть у него был доступ. Угу.
Mr. Manchios says that you begged him to be included in the heritage. Isn't that a little extreme, even for a major domo?
He's not only my employer, he's my uncle. And I'm his next of kin. The only one. Mr. Manchios flatly refuses to pay a family member. All I have to do is repay his so-called love. Cleaning up the filth after perverts and decadents. He's imprisoned me. The best I can hope for is a new broom. That's why I wanted to have my part of the inheritance.
Is it that bad? You have a roof above your head, a salary, and the status of a major domo.
For God's sake. I'm forced to dye and stitch my threadbare clothes, and the holes in my shoes are painful. I'm ashamed every time a guest looks at me closely.
Why do you think your uncle treats you this way?
My mother, my uncle's sister, had me illegitimately. She died, and I was given the surname of one of the maids.
But you are entitled to some of the money that belongs to your family.
He thinks not. I was not responsible for my mother's death. I work hard, and he pays me nothing. I feed on the leftovers. While he wastes our estate's property on decadent parties, he paid Fabio handsomely and showered him with expensive gifts for their disgusting relationship.
Угу. А что насчет этого скажет сам? Дядька.
I've read the letter about your will. A harsh method of ridiculing Santos. I doubt he will use mustache wax when he wears no mustache to begin with.
Where did you get
А
it?
так он тоже не носит
Is
маски.
the slug here?
После.
Tell him I shouldn't have to provide for him. He's a grown man who shouldn't sit on his uncle's neck. He conceives himself as my only heir.
And who is he to you?
He's a leech on my aging body. He has only added problems to my life since the death of his mother.
I fail to see why you made him your major domo.
He needed to know his place, so I taught him.
Угу. Тут еще что-то новое. Стрим. Вот, Мэнчес дарил подарки дорогие и издевался на печати.
There is undeniable evidence that you were the original recipient of this letter.
What are you talking about? Is it addressed to me?
Your protege wanted a fresh start, it seems. This is sufficient to charge you.
Me? Hurt my star? Are you insane that you would accuse me of such a thing?
He did not consider himself as yours. Since you deny everything, let's move on. Do you have any idea as to how the letter could have ended up in Mr. Vogel's pocket?
You were the detective. Perhaps he took it from Fabio. Werner was a little high.
Сейчас спросим.
I have reason to believe that the intended recipient of the incriminating letter may have been Kurt Manchios.
Well, that makes sense. Too bad I can't remember how I came to possess it. Though I did spend quite some time with Mr. Manchios during the party.
Unfortunately, even with an answer, that may still not be enough to clear you with the police. But fear not, I will persevere.
I hope your attempt to put things straight will make up for...
You being on a bender?
Touché.
Touché.
Please let me out.
Кто-то лжет, Фогель или Мэнчес? Дурманин Фогель сам забрал письмо. Или Курт Мэнчес засунул письмо в карман, чтобы отвести от себя подозрения.
I can't wrap my head around such a tragedy at my party.
Может, ты что-нибудь скажешь? Что ты скажешь про это
Could
письмо?
Fabio have written this letter to Kurt Manchios?
Oh. That could be. I never thought Mr. Manchios could make Fabio that angry, though.
What do you mean?
Well, Fabio wanted to disassociate from Mr. Manchios. Clients who are in love are both a blessing and a curse.
But Fabio was here tonight.
Money. In our line of work, we can't afford to turn down clients who pay as well as Kurt Manchios.
Was Fabio afraid of Mr. Manchios?
Not at all. The old toad wouldn't dare to do more than sweet talk and touching. Talk can be forgotten, and touching washed away.
чтобы свалить вину на Матисту и подложила... ну, он не мог подложить эту книгу. Она сама призналась, что взяла. И подложил Фогелю в карман письмо, чтобы отвести от себя подозрения, судьба других людей быть безразлична. Либо...
Там написано подложить письмо, а не книгу.
Ну, я так и сказал.
Письмо Фогелю, а не книгу Матисте.
Я понял. Я просто смотрю, какие есть варианты. Я хочу еще третий вариант сделать. Что печати. Ну ты думаешь, Мэтчелс, да? Мэнчелс подложил письмо. И убил его.
Я с самого начала на него думал. Левый вариант из ревности.
Да нет, тут правы, на самом деле. Я просто спойлер прочитал. Чтобы ачивку получить, его надо казнить. Для ачивки. Чтобы отомстить за Фабио.
Хотя фиг знает. Это ачивка, но по факту ревность, я думаю.
А кому он его ревновал-то? Он тот же просто его любил, а тот сказал, что я ухожу. Вот он его убил. Тут он не ревновал, что он кого-то другого любит, по сути.
This letter proves nothing. Fabio wrote it to Mr. Manchios. It's time to free Mr. Vogel.
Do you really think I'm that naive? I need proof, not words from his friend.
Very well. Mr. Pinchetti told me
Ревность
that
нет
Mr.
кому
Manchios was lavishing
дефиста, а
Fabio with
просто.
expensive and eccentric gifts. The letter mentions rich rewards and attempts to buy Fabio with them. It was written to Mr. Manchios. Who else was showering Fabio with luxuries to buy him? It doesn't fit Mr. Vogel's character.
Look here. We had a deal. Give me the murderer and then take your friend with you. I won't budge otherwise.
Well, fine, but you're just wasting time.
Continue our investigation while I look for the papers.
The murder of Fabio did not have a ritual purpose, Mr. Manchios. It was staged by a man who wished to distract the investigation.
That might be true. That poor girl Matista wouldn't dare to kill the only man who cared for her. So, Santos.
Mr. Pinchetti snatched at the chance to solve his problems.
Ungrateful little scum. Will he be executed?
But what for? He informed the police as to the crime, that was all. He couldn't stage the ritual, but he found the body, I believe.
I can't believe it. Why did Werner do it?
Mr. Vogel. He had no reason, and he won't be a scapegoat as you plan. You put Fabio's letter in his pocket when he was intoxicated, didn't you?
You can't be serious.
We can very often deduce someone's life by their shoes, or their fingernails. You are a meticulous person, but this murder was fairly traumatic and filthy. After you stabbed Fabio, you were covered in blood. You panicked and neglected to rinse the soap from under your fingernails. The devil is in the details, Mr. Manchios.
Nonsense. I missed it simply because of the busy schedule of the party.
Of course, a staged murder was certainly not planned. You're at the twilight of your life. You have no partner, you have no children. You had feelings, however, for one man. That was Fabio. You loved him. That is, you wished to own him, with money and gifts. But he was also a free mind, was he not? He turned his back on you. Quite unjust. Love, so cruel and painful, and Fabio, with his words and deeds, made you feel the more wretched. So you killed him.
You must surely perceive that my sensitive nature wouldn't allow me to hurt anyone.
You staged the murder as a satanic ritual. It was easy for you, since you were the one who wrote the scenarios for the parties. It was your way of avoiding suspicion. A respectable man in his 60s,
early 60s,
who hosts the cream of Cordona society, cannot possibly be a murderer. But the guests who behave like animals in his mansion, of course, one of them could have killed Fabio.
I did oversee a few of the rituals, but I did not stage Fabio's death.
Fabio played with your feelings. That was painful to realize. You spent so much time and effort to be with Fabio, but he didn't respond in the way that you would have liked. You wanted to be loved, but Fabio shattered your dreams. In the smoking lounge, he teased and mocked you. He wanted you to suffer by offering himself to others. The deception was unbearable. You were passionate, and so you struck him. Once you understood your mistake, it was too late. You were afraid, so you staged the ritual. With such a story, you might be sentenced to a few years. It might clean your conscience, and soon the case will be forgotten.
No. No.
This is my decision. I'll talk to Constable Oswald to see what I can do.
Блин, я сам же и выбрал в итоге ревность.
There's no fool like an old fool. Kurt Manchios did it. A young boy played with the heart of an old man. The latter couldn't handle it. The evidence I obtained clearly shows that the quarrel was not intended to end badly. It was an accident.
Showing pity towards your own kind, Holmes. Whatever.
All I'm saying is that prison won't take much away from an old and crushed man.
Fine. A big name like that will still give me a promotion. As for my part, not everything was in place. Perhaps some documents were transferred somewhere else, but I couldn't find a trace of them. Then I remembered. The discarded document drawers where we put the lost papers or the badly labelled ones, including the crime scene report of Violet Holmes's case. Everything I've found is on the desk here. Take it.
Your persistence has saved me.
Yeah, well, we had a deal after all. Your friend is free then. You can leave.
Good luck, Constable.
Блин, я ачивку не получил. Ё-моё. Кирилл. Ладно, смотри, мы его в тюрьму посадим без повешения, но ради ачивки чисто просто.
Теперь все заново.
Да, там что всего-то? В одной комнате бегаешь. Так, смотри, на чем мы тут остановились? А, ну все, мы тут на обвинении остановились, так что все, сейчас просто еще раз все это скажем. Вот. Безумие маньяка просто надо выбрать. Надо выбрать просто не здесь, а при общении. А я-то думал. И все, сейчас просто ради ачивки скажем, тебя повесят. Бейдж. Но из ревности как-то больше звучит правдоподобно, да, что он в порыве... Ой. А где Ватсон? Ватсон! Ватсон! Что он в порыве...
The murder of Fabio did not have a ritual purpose, Mr. Manchi. You're at the twilight of your life. You staged the murder as a satanic ritual.
Что он типа спонтанно его ударил по башке.
We can very often
А не
deduce someone's
готовился к
life.
этому.
Не то, чтобы я сразу это сказал.
The young performer played with your emotions. That was painful to realize. You spent so much time and effort to be with Fabio, but he didn't respond in the way you would have liked. You wanted to be loved. Fabio shattered your dreams. In the smoking lounge, he teased and mocked you. He wanted you to suffer by offering himself to others. The deception was unbearable. You struck him, and then you staged the ritual. You planted the letter in Vogel's pocket and attempted to set up Matista.
What poppycock? Sherlock, stop this game now.
There is no stop word, Mr. Manchios. Relax and enjoy it. I'll pass the remainder of this case to Constable Oswald. He'll know what to do with you.
Видишь, прикол в том, что они до последнего всегда отрицают. И ты типа не знаешь, ты прав или нет. Потому что ты можешь обвинить другого, он тоже будет это отрицать.
I have a name for you. Kurt Manchios.
Is that so? The master of the Sabbath?
The man himself. Mr. Manchios couldn't stand to lose control.
Перевели не до конца.
As for my part, not everything was in place. Perhaps some documents were transferred somewhere else.
Тоже 120. Я думал, денег меньше дадут за то, что типа неправильная концовка. Чекпоинт, чекпоинт, чекпоинт. Ручное сохранение. Ну все, сделаем так, что его посадят. Че убивать мужика?
Он сказал, тут нет стоп-дефис, слова дефис, просто расслабьтесь и получайте удовольствие.
Прикольно. Смотри, а тут я появился там. Так, тело женщины. В саду особняка. Да, дали. Покойного, как мисс Валет Холм, одежда женщины была. Можем, кстати, загрузиться и обвинить другого, посмотреть, что они скажут. Прикинь, осмотр выявил на ее шее покойный глубокий вертикальный надрез длиной 2 дюйма, лицо опухшее, покрыто красными пятнами. Вероятная причина смерти — удушье. Ожидаем заключения патологоанатома. Главный подозреваемый Отто Рихтер. Арестован на месте тела, отправляется на вскрытие. А Шерлоку сказали, что она от туберкулеза умерла, прикинь.
Garden. There's a garden behind our manor.
Все, сад открылся.
That's where it all happened, where it all went wrong.
Sherry, it looks like you've
Ты
almost
почти нашел
found
то,
what
что
you
хотел.
wanted.
Ну все, это уже позже тогда поиграем.
Oh, you did it, Sherlock! The case is closed and all rewards belong to the winner. Bravo!
It is merely the triumph of the truth.
Is it? No compromises? No lies? You're happy with your decisions?
It was the best decision I could obtain. The truth must be told in the way it is most acceptable.
You're making progress, Sherlock. I was right to believe in you. By the way, did you get that precious information about your mother? Oh, not that you must.
Yes, I did.
Forgive my intrusion.
Блин, это сын Рихтера, короче, какой.
I simply worry I'm failing to be of much
Или
help
брат
to
вот
you.
этот.
Actually, you were. For some reason, all the archives on the case had disappeared. This was a rare opportunity to obtain the impossible.
Outrageous. Perhaps someone found the truth unpleasant. Society usually rejects those who speak with too much honesty, doesn't it?
A comfortable lie is often preferred to an uncomfortable truth. Still, I believe that the latter should prevail, and I cannot remain silent.
That's quixotism at its best. Your mere truth cannot defeat institutions, systems, and power. Etiquette, religion, marriage, they're all lies told to preserve connections, love, and sanity, and it's all corruptible.
Lies destroy human dignity. How could you make a free decision without any knowledge of the truth?
Are we really free to decide anything in this world, Sherlock?
Вот этот чувак вообще классный, он прикольные вот эти мысли озвучивает, мне вообще нравится.
Oh yes. It's a struggle, but yes, we can make our own decisions. That's what I fight for.
What an endless fight it is. Will you ever give yourself a break, Sherlock? You're a walking contradiction, Sherlock. You refuse to lie to others, but constantly lie to yourself. How long until the train comes off the track? I cannot look away, but perhaps I should take a few steps back. You're an accident waiting to happen, dear. Until then, I shall bid you adieu.
Крутой персонаж. Диалоги тут вообще крутые, я считаю. Паркур. Ну все, я думаю, что на этом можно закончить. Сейчас пойду еще стул куплю. В дом. Ну чё, как тебе?
Побалуй себя стулом.
Don't miss out on
За проделанную работу.
А, вот ковры, кстати.
It's
Да.
a good day for a purchase.
Люстру. Какая хорошая люстра, мне нравится.
May your purchase bring you joy.
Let's pick some.
Но самое дорогое тут, конечно, это костюмы. Смотри, они сколько стоят. Хотя не самые прикольные. Чёрная растяпа. Мягко, удобно, в нем будто заново родился. Да сейчас, Андрей, есть уродливый бежевый костюм. Кошмар, худший наряд в игре. Тоже стебут, наверное, кого-то. Поношенный костюм, от него замели несет рыба. Это, я вот думаю, только там, где не надо.
Don't leave. Take one more look.
Лол. Блин, сейчас можно залипнуть и еще дом изучать. Там же сад открылся. А еще можно с этим мужиком поговорить, там задание от Майкрофта.
Garden's much prettier, don't you think? I bet the memories are all flooding back now.
Ватсон, где ты? Я даже не успел прочитать, что ты сказал. Да, сюда статую поставили. Вот для чего здесь этот фонарь был. Что еще? Эти пасека.
I should write a book about the behavior of bees someday.
Что еще поставили? Все? А где скамейка? Скамейки-то и нет.
Well
А,
done,
вот
Sherry.
ковер.
The hall now looks much as it did in our youth. Brings back fond memories.
Картины. Слушай, почище стало, да? Картины повесили. Это я купил. Вот это я купил. Это я не помню. картины я купил. Слушай, да, этот, паутину убрали. Вот ковры решают как. Чётенько. Блин, жалко, у меня больше денег нет, еще бы купили
Now
что-нибудь.
it looks exactly like it was a decade ago. I can almost feel the memories hitting me.
В смысле, я же это все изучал. А, это вот я купил. Кстати, это еще кошка, значит, вот она. А, вот она где стояла. Тут просто...
What a monstrosity! Where could such a creature even survive?
Вот, этой штуки не было. Тут все помыли, все подреставрировали, видел? И эту поставили. Как в детстве. И пыли меньше стало.
Home sweet home, Sherry.
Прикольно.
I can sense an incoming memory, Sherry. Do you?
Вон, да, лампочка. Кровать детская. Прикольно сделали, что так дома преобразился.
The only fiction book on my table. I can still hear my mother reading it to me.
Интересно, какую книгу мне надо? А вот скрипка, кстати.
I'm looking forward to learning to play it. As soon as I have some free time. The most important thing is not to taste it.
А это то, что я только что... Про сирен задание было.
The first chemical laboratory I ever made. I almost miss its elegant simplicity.
Тут, кстати, тоже ничего не светилось. А эта жвачка, это из первой миссии, светящаяся. Вот,
I will need a proper outfit to match this.
О. А давай костюм
I will
сделаем.
need a proper outfit to match this.
Может, тоже что-нибудь дадут. О, смотри, записка.
Sharp and well balanced. It would be a pity to leave such a tool behind. Sharp and well balanced. It would be a pity to leave such a tool behind.
А, ну вот эта карту, которую я купил, картину. Интересно.
I hope Wooden Joe won't object to a new friend.
Это слепые дуэлянты. Задание было. Блин, красиво все сделано. Вон эта маска, которая только что ходил.
It was truly an unforgettable event.
Вот часы, которые я купил. Ну, тут еще пыли много, тут надо сюда, видимо, что-то еще купить. Так, а мне денег не хватит. 77.
Oh, the room looks nice now.
Гораздо уютнее.
It's comforting to see the way it was meant to be.
Че, и ванну помыли, что ли? Нет, ванну не помыли. Это я вот шкатулку купил. Это я вот эту купил.
Looks like it was damaged by a blunt object.
Люстру эту. Ну, мораль всей басни такова. Ковры и люстры меняют представление обо всем. Так, захотелось еще сходить в магазин. А там один магазин, там вообще, типа, ведь он сказал, типа, у меня для вас ничего нет. кажется, надо всю игру пройти, потом откроется все.
Our clothes will be worn well, take my word.
The best a flea market. Oh, nothing left in stock.
Все распродано. Так, не здесь сокровища было?
Oriental. I'm afraid I have nothing to offer.
Ага, нечего предложить. Здесь я тоже только что был, да?
Oriental rugs at a good price. I'm afraid I have...
Masterpieces by Look. Sorry, I have nothing to offer you at present. Make your garden cost. Sorry, I have not.
Я все купил, значит. Только вот этот чувак остался.
Extra, extra! Good actor killed by bad actor. A young...
Interest. Check the front page. You won't regret it.
Exquisite furniture for your home. Sorry, I've nothing to offer you at present.
А, так я выполнил это задание, получается. Надо просто освежить память для ачивки. Мебели-то нигде нет, потому что я все выполнил.
best place for reading. My mother liked the story of David and Goliath. She said it doesn't matter how small you are, you can always overcome any obstacle. I imagine Goliath was surprised to find out his lady was not real. I imagine Goliath was surprised to find out his lady was not real. Ah, yes. We were sword fighting in this very spot.
And that time, I was the winner.
So, as your victory prize, you asked me to fulfill a wish. I remember we did something the very next night, John, but what was it? We brought a cage with us. You insisted it must be made of iron.
That's because we were preparing to hunt fairies in our garden. Everyone knows iron is the only thing that can hold them.
And I was distinctly uncomfortable.
It was a disguise, of course. Fairies are easy to scare off, unless you're incognito.
And every trap needs bait. We brought honey and a glass of warm milk.
After 2 hours lying in wait, we noticed movement in the bushes. The fairies appeared at last.
No, it was just Isolde the pig. She was lured by the smell of honey and milk, and ate every last drop. Isolde belonged to Mr. Sim in Miner's End and escaped regularly. At least twice a month we would see him searching for her all over the island.
Ты тут, Кирилл? В орех играешь уже? Ну я погнал.
Ладно.
А, ты тут? Ну ты молчишь. Потом продолжим. Так-то интересно, там уже все, финал.
Давай.